Hello, guys, and welcome to this third episode of the Scared of Sugar podcast. I am your host, Maximilian. Oh my god, I cannot have these shoes in this podcast because they're really ugly. They're really old. I'm really sorry. Don't look at them. They're like these old Adidas shoes that I bought a long time ago. But anyway, hello. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling on this lovely day? On this beautiful morning. I'm coming to you live on Tuesday, and it's going to be released today. I had such a busy week. I got overwhelmed, and then I'm now filming it on the day that it's due. Classic. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I also have my wine glass with water here, guys. Cheers. Drink up. Stay hydrated. You know, it's a tough world. We need to stay hydrated. We need to stay moist. Okay, always. Always. So, on today's podcast episode, I am going to be talking about housemates. Now, listen. Okay. I have lived in London for 6 years. I've lived in a lot of different housing setups, like lived in student accom, have lived in my own house, lived in a house filled with mainly spare rooms people. Like, I've kind of done all the possible trajectories that you could do, except for maybe living in with a live-in landlord. I haven't done that one. But I have some crazy stories. Like, housemates in London are nuts. Crazy. I think it's the same everywhere because, like, I don't know what it is, but people go feral as soon as they start living with other people. It's nuts. But anyway, today we're going to start off with a weekly update. Guys, oh my God, can you hear that? They're transporting a porta potty down my road because they're doing building works next door. What the hell? And then earlier, I think I heard them like pumping. Anyway, that's disgusting. All right, so my weekly update, you guys, I almost got shot in Bushy Park. So I was doing a photo shoot in Bushy Park, and basically we rolled up to the gates of Bushy Park. It was like, I think it was like 8:30 p.m. And on these huge signs outside the gates, it was like danger, no entry. But we had planned this shoot, like we had to do it. Like we were like, we have to go in. We have no choice because we've planned everything. We've paid money. We've rented lamps. Like, we need to go do this. So we're like, we stand outside. We read the sign and it says, danger, no entry because there's deer culling. Now, I didn't know what deer culling was, but now I know what deer culling is. You guys, deer culling is when they shoot the deers to, stop overpopulation of deers. But I had no idea. First of all, I didn't even know that they were shooting guns like that in London. I was like, what the frick? Like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. And so we all looked at each other, and it was like me, Saskia, and Raka. We looked at each other. We were like, are we going to do this or are we not? And we did it. We went in. And it was so spooky. Like, it was fully the set of a horror film. Like, I'm not even joking. The gates creaked open. It was these huge gates. You couldn't see anything. Like, there was not a single lamp anywhere. No street lamps, nothing. You could only see in the distance this huge castle. And everything was just moonlit. And there's kind of like a main road as you walk into Bushy Park, and then on the left and on the right side there's a tiny bit of forest, and after that there's a field. And so we needed to get to the field bit because we were in an open field for this photo shoot. So we get our torches out. We're walking through the little forest bit to get to the field bit, and as we have our torches out, I can see the eyes of the deers reflecting. Like and before we went in, I googled, do deers charge? Like, are they dangerous? Especially because it's culling season, but that's because I think it's mating season. So I was like, are they on extra hormones? Like, are they gonna be really excited to see me. I don't know, like, what the fuck is gonna happen? So I was freaking out. And as we were walking in between these trees, you could barely see there were deers like next to us, like kind of standing by, and they weren't moving. They weren't like the usual scared type of deer that would run away. So I was like, no, like, guys, dead ass, like, we're gonna die. Like, this is crazy. And anyway, we managed to make it through the little forest bit. We get to the open field bit, and we're like, right, let's make this like as quick as we like. Let's just be as quick as we can, because as we walked in there on that yellow sign, it said the gates will close at 10:30. So Sass was like, we need to get out of here. Like, we need to be packed by 10. Like, I want to be out of here by 10. I just don't want to be locked in here. And I was like, me too. So true, bestie. Let's make this happen. So it was like 8:30. In usual fashion, when you're doing a photo shoot, you're obviously getting carried away. You're like loving life and you're so in the creative moment. And we obviously completely started losing track of time. Anyway, so as like we're like kind of in the middle of the shoot, we're super into it, and all of a sudden I see a red laser light like kind of going in between the trees like that. And I screamed so loud. I was like, oh my God, get down, because we're going to get shot. Because I thought that was like a laser from a rifle. And and my friend Raka, she like face planted herself into the grass. It was so funny. To be honest, we all did. Sorry, if you're not watching on YouTube, basically she face planted, but I'm going to reenact the face plant on YouTube. So hold on. That was the face plant that she did into the grass. And then, and I was like so terrified. I thought, this is it. Like, we're going to be shot in fucking Bushy Park doing a photo shoot. Like, this cannot be the way I die. Like, this is not glamorous enough for me. And anyway, I then like kind of look up, and Sass is like looking up, and she's like, fuck, phew, that was just a car light. And it was just a red car light of a car that was stationary and was like moving really slowly in between the gates. So the lights, his like tail lights, were reflecting in the gate and were creating like what looked like a red pointer laser. It was terrifying. And then as we got up, I looked at both of us, and she was like, "So nice to know I'm not suicidal." And at that moment, babes, you could get the stretcher, like load me into the ambulance. I'm done. It was so funny. This whole experience was crazy. And like I was saying before, we were so in the moment, getting so carried away with this photo shoot that we didn't end up leaving until fucking 10:25. And as we were walking to the gates, like traversing back through this mini forest, we see the ranger in his pickup truck, like just behind us, and we walk out the gate at 10:27 and he locks it. So not a minute, we couldn't have been a second later, we would have been locked in Bushy Park. And now I don't even want to think about what would have happened if we were locked in Bushy Park. I can't climb the gates. Hello? Have you seen these knees? I can't climb the gates. Like, it would have been a dig and run. I think we would have had to dig underneath the gate or something, because I don't know how else we would have escaped Bushy Park. I don't know, can you call the police and tell them you're stuck in a park? Or would they be like, no, we've got some serious matters to attend to in London. I'm sure they probably wouldn't drop everything to come save like 3 creative gherkins in Bushy Park. Anyway, so that was definitely a highlight of my week. Yeah, that was a bit crazy. Oh my God, also another highlight of my week is I've been really into auctions at the moment. I've been buying things at auction, like online auctions in the UK. And I actually, do you know what? I was gonna gatekeep this, but I'm not gonna gatekeep it anymore. This is where the girls are getting, like, this is like where the Depop girls. This is where the Portobello market girls are getting their stuff, their designer stuff from, and selling it on with a big ass markup. Because sometimes I was like, how are you getting this stuff and still being able to sell it for like 100, 150 pounds? It's through the auctions. They're just doing estate sales. Anyway, so I found these Chanel sunglasses at like a um, really reputable auction house in Dorset, and I drove all the way to Dorset, from London, which took like a long time, 3 fucking hours. Um, I picked them up. I started driving home, and I realized they were fake. I bought fake Chanel glasses at auction. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, that is my luck. I sent them an angry email. And I was like, I can't believe that, like, you guys are selling fake Chanel. And they were like, no, don't worry. Like, we will just send it back to us, and um we will give you a refund. And they did. So that's a big slay. But yeah, I drove all the way down to Dorset for that, and that was not funny. That was really not cute. Roll the intro. Welcome to the Scared of Sugar podcast. Guys, I've actually been thinking recently, should I rename it? Because my Instagram bio used to be Homo with FOMO, and I feel like that's quite funny. Let me know if you think that's a joke. Like, let me know if you think that's jokes, and I should change it to that. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, excuse my eyebrows. I didn't have any time to do them, and they're starting to look a bit like slugs. I don't think you can really tell, but I've got like kind of a unibrow. I don't know. I'm going closer. Actually, fuck, I'm not going to show you shit. And I've got a bit of a unibrow going on, and all the hairs are just going all over the place. Anyway, let's get back to scheduled programming, darling. What you're really here for? The housemates. This is gonna be part one because I got a lot of shit to talk about. I got a lot of shit to talk about my most recent house share. Oh, you guys gonna eat that one up. But first of all, guys, like living in London with housemates. I love talking about this because I think everyone has such different experiences, but there's always like a crossover. There's such a red line. I feel like in room shares in London and house shares in London, you have two different type of people. You have, let's say, type A, which is extremely clean. Like, wants it to look like a showroom, finds it disrespectful when you don't have it clean 100% of the time, and thinks that that is the right way. That's type A, okay? Now, type B is like the person who kind of puts their relationship with their housemates at like the first place. So is non-confrontational, doesn't like, would rather have it really be a little bit messy if that means there's no confrontation, if that means there's no talk about like a rota, whatever. Now, I feel like I am more type B. I'm so type B. My ethos has always been like, I'm not going to start a fight about cleanliness because my relationship with my housemates is 3,000 times more important than the grace of rind that was the rice grain that was left on the stove. Like, I really don't care enough to kick up a fuss. Like, I just honestly just don't even care that much. Like, I am a clean person. Like, I want it to be organized. I want it to be tidy. Am I clean and tidy all the time? No. I think I'm very average. Like, I like it to be clean. I like it to be tidy. But I'm also okay with mess. And, like, sometimes it will get messy. And sometimes I will do my plate the next morning. But no one's going to die. Like, everyone will be fine if I do my plate the next morning. And so I've also encountered the type A, which is the showroom, the ultra clean, like cleaning the stove after every use, whereas I clean it after every use or sometimes after every second use. But they're cleaning after every use. Every plate has to be done. Everything has to be done always, all the time, everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Now, the problem with those type of people, and those people have been the bane of my fucking existence for so long. Like, if you want to hold everyone to that standard, you should be living by yourself. But you can't afford to live by yourself in London. So then shut the fuck up. If you're living in a 5-bedroom house, right? And you are trying to enforce upon everyone to have the place look like a fucking showroom all the time, it's not going to happen. Everyone is busy. Everyone has an extremely busy life. Not everyone has the same commitment to cleanliness as you do. And the thing is, what I hate the most, I'm just gonna go on a rant here as well. What I fucking hate the most is the people who, like those type A people, like who want it to be clean in a showroom all the time. It's like they so staunchly believe that the way they think is the right way to be. Like they're very arrogant about it. Like they're very cocky about the fact that they want it to be clean. You know, it's like they're enforcing it upon you and they think it's the right way to live. But honey, that's not the right way to live. Some people like to have their household be average, have their household, a little bit of mess, but it's a tidy, organized chaos. Some people have really bad ADHD and can't clean up. Some people struggle with different things. Some people struggle with anxiety, and that stops them from cleaning. Like, there's a multitude of different reasons why we can't all be held to the same standard as you. So stop it. It's so fucking embarrassing to constantly have conversations about cleaning rotas, have conversations about like, it just doesn't work. Also, cleaning rotas don't work. I've lived in 2 5-bedroom house shares. Every time we've made a cleaning rota, it's ripped up after a week. Like, it just never works. How about everyone just clean up after themselves? Okay? If the bin is full, take the bin out. If the dishwasher is full, empty it. If the dishwasher is empty and there's dishes, and especially other people's dishes, just put their dish in the dishwasher. Like, if you have such a problem with the mess, and if you have such a problem with the mess, and it is really so hard for you to if you really have such a problem with the mess, then why don't you just clean it? Like, if it really, really impacts your life so much, then fucking clean it. Stop complaining. And the worst is when they do clean it and then they make everyone feel bad. And it's like, no, we've kept the house at a very reasonable standard. Like, I'm being seriously honest with you. I know when things are messy. I know when things are not messy. Like, imagine, like, the house is kept clean. I'm talking about when, like, people want their house not to be clean, but they want it to be like a showroom. I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about like having it be clean, having it be tidy. Like, that's normal. Like, everyone wants their house to be clean and tidy. I'm talking about like the ultra like crazy. You want it to be a showroom all the time. It's just not feasible, babes. Go live by yourself. I really cannot stand those people, because I also feel like it's so cold. Like, getting text messages into the group chat, like the passive aggressiveness. Like, I don't want to live my life like that, and like I feel sad for you that you want to live your life like that, because it's just really a sad existence to be constantly like hounding people about cleanliness. Like, it's embarrassing. Honestly, get a fucking hobby and shut up. Seriously, like. As long as the house is clean and tidy and it's respectful to everyone else, that's good enough, okay? And even if it's not, no one's gonna die. It's just fine. We all move on. I don't know. It's just so against what like I stand for and how I want to live my life. Like, I would much rather because I've lived with really, really messy people before, but it's like I'd much rather live in a harmonious household than fight with you about cleanliness. And I understand also that confrontation doesn't always have to be, end in conflict or even exist in conflict. But like, I don't know. I just feel like, because it's such a it's such a delicate experience, housemates, you know? Like you don't want to like you're living in each other's presence the whole time. Like you don't want to have conflict. It's just so nasty. Like I've lived in houses as well where like for just months on end we would just wouldn't say hi to each other because it just was so hostile. And like it's so depressing. Especially when you live far away from family. Like, you know, you don't you kind of want to have a home away from home. You want to have a home away from home. So since moving to London, I've lived in student accommodations. Those have been interesting. They were actually all right, except for my first one. My first student accommodation was crazy. Like a lot of crazy shit happened. This is my first time ever leaving home, so I was very excited, but also horrifically nervous about like meeting new people, like being in a different place. You know, I didn't really know anyone in London. I was so nervous. And I moved into this, I think it was like a 7-bed like flat, like in a student accommodation. And I one time had and one time I almost had a fire extinguisher thrown at me. Like, you guys, basically one of the girls in the flat, let's call her Jane. Jane was in the kitchen. No, sorry, Jane was in her room, and me and my friends were in the kitchen, and we were just like chilling, and we were watching TV, and we had like the door to the kitchen open, and you know, like those UK student comms where it's like you have like a long hallway, and there's like loads of like, you know, the rooms, and at the end of it is the kitchen. Jane's room was maybe about 3 or 4 rooms down from the kitchen. So like reasonably far. Also, this was like a new build student accom. So like I'm only saying that because the doors were like heavy. Like they were proper doors. Like they were also like fire doors as every, you know, UK house student accom has to have. So they were like relatively soundproof. Anyway, so she was in her room, had her door closed, and we had the door to the kitchen open because we were on like the 3rd floor or something, and they couldn't open the windows because they thought we were all going to kill ourselves. So we couldn't open the window, so we could only open the window that was down the hallway. Super annoying. So if you're cooking, you have to keep the door to the kitchen open so the air can, you know, clear. Anyways, we're just watching some TV. Like I think we were playing like a little bit of music. Honestly, it's not loud. Like, it's not that loud. It's giving maybe like the volume of a hotel lobby piano. Yeah? Like if you were at the bar and the hotel lobby piano is like on the other side of the room, like it's giving that volume, not that voluminous, okay? And then all of a sudden she comes out of her room and she's like, fucking turn it down, fucking turn it down. And we're like, yeah, of course. So we turn it down. We turn it down a little bit. It's still not very loud. Like genuinely not very loud. Like, and now it's down to about like inside room voices loud. She comes in again, and this time she completely loses her shit. She is like, fucking turn it down. I told you to turn it down. Like, why have you not turned it down? Da, da, da. At which point my friends start getting really confrontational with her, and they start like fighting with her, like verbally, like, we don't need to turn it down. You don't need to tell us what to do. Like, it's not loud enough. Call management. By the way, Jane was our friend. Like, this was such a like out of the blue experience. Like, Jane was our friend. I forgot to preface it with that. Jane was our friend. All of a sudden, she is like off the fucking hook, like losing it. And it's actually getting a bit scary. And so we walk into the hallway, and we walk past her. And as we walk past her, she reaches for the fire extinguisher. The girl reaches for the fire extinguisher and starts chasing us like an idiot down the hallway, threatening to throw the fire extinguisher at us. Like she's holding it above her head, like running down the fucking hallway, chasing us with a fire extinguisher. Guys, what the fuck? I just landed from Singapore. I've moved to London, and I'm now in the hallway in a student accommodation being chased by a woman holding a fire extinguisher. trying to throw it at my head for playing songs, for playing TV at an inside room voice. Honestly, this is what I mean when like some people really should be living by themselves. Like that is totally unacceptable and really fucking weird behavior. Like you are a freak for doing that. Like you are really weird. And I should have known though because this girl was crazy. She got arrested at her aunt's wedding for trying to beat up her aunt. And meanwhile, guys, she studied criminology. Like, you honestly can't make this shit up. Like some of these stories, how has that happened? Also, how have I won the Wheel of Fortune to be living with this crazy girl who got arrested for, you know, trying to assault her aunt at her own wedding? It was interesting. Also at that student accommodation as well. Um, the security guard, like the guy who was at the front desk when after hours, he would like flirt with me all the time. And at first he like it was kind of like haha, like it was kind of like this is kind of cute, like this is kind of funny, lol, lol, lol. And then it started getting really fucking weird. Like he was like he would like when I would walk in, he would like turn his computer around and he would show me like pictures of like frankfurters. Like I'm not talking about like dicks, but I'm talking about like a sausage, like a food sausage that you can eat. And would be like talking about it really sexually to me. Like it was so weird because he thought like because he got mixed up. He thought because I'm Dutch that like I'm Deutsch like German. No, I'm not even from there. And then he was like showing me these sausages, like trying to make like flirtatious chat with me. And then one time I was trying to go to the bathroom, like the downstairs bathroom in like the social area, whatever. And he cornered me. And it was like, actually, it's not funny. Like, it's really not okay. And so then I told my friends told management, and he got fired. Yeah, he got fired within like a week. I never saw him again because that's obviously really not appropriate. He's supposed to be our security guard. He's supposed to keep us safe. Like he's not supposed to harass us. So yeah, that was funny. But yeah, that was my first uni accommodation experience. And then I moved to a second uni accommodation. That one was actually super chill. Everyone was very lovely. Everyone was very kind. Um, Everyone was very level-headed. Like I kind of stayed back a little bit. Like I didn't really interact that much. So yeah, and then it got cut short by COVID anyway. So it wasn't really like a notable experience, but it was fine. It was actually one of quite a nice example of just people who don't know each other like harmoniously living together. Like there was never really any conflict. No one was really bitter. Like it was just easy going. But then I moved back to Malaysia for 9 months because it was COVID. And now let's talk about that house experience. No, that was so nice. Actually, like a really brief tangent on COVID. That like it was obviously a horrible time. It was a horrible time for everyone, and like yeah, it was like obviously super traumatic. But but yeah, being able to move back in with your parents as a young adult is actually really crazy, and it was actually a very cherished memory of mine. We had a lot of fun. We like cooked loads. Like being stuck in Malaysia is definitely not a bad deal for 9 months, and like the nice hot weather, it was really really nice. So yeah, that's what I. Those are my housing experiences. That's like all the housemate stuff I'm gonna cover for now because I want to do another episode because I have got my previous house share to this to talk about, and that is like full of crazy stories as well. Um, but yeah, so kind of to wrap up this episode though, and to go on a little bit of a tangent from the COVID story, I want to tell you guys about my flight back. Like my when I found out that COVID was happening, because this is like a really funny story. I have quite. I used to have quite a lot of flight anxiety, especially because I used to fly by myself from Asia to Europe. It's like a 14-hour flight. It's quite long. It's like it's sometimes it's just not very nice to do on your own. Like it's an uncomfortable flight. You're sat down for a long time and then to do it on your own, it's like a bit grim. But obviously, like I did it loads, so it was fine. But I didn't like because especially when I flew by myself, I would always like want to fly BA and an A380, and that's not because I'm so bougie. Because no, bitch, I'm still sitting at the back, like in the economy next to the toilets. It's because like I just felt like it was a safe plane. Like I knew I felt comfortable in it. I've flown it before. The BA crew was always lovely, and I was like, that was just like I've flown it before and I felt safe. So I was like, I just want to fly that. Anyway, I was in London and I had this guy at the time that I was seeing. He was like from Birmingham. But I'd like never met him before, and we were just chatting for months and months and months. And he came to stay that weekend. The weekend where on the Sunday, my mum called me and goes, "You need to get on a plane right now." And I was like, "What do you mean I need to get onto a plane right now?" She was like, "Singapore is closing its borders. Like, you need to get on a plane right now, or you're going to be stuck there for God knows how long." Plus, at that point, like, obviously now we know it lasts for about 2 years. But at that point, remember, we didn't know how long COVID was going to last. So it was like, if you don't get onto a plane now, I don't know when and if I'm going to see you next. So I was like freaking out. I obviously had this guy staying with me. I was like, you need to go. And like, anyway, it wasn't really giving. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry if you see this, but it was anyway. I was like, you have to go. Like, I need to go. I need to get on a flight. And so my mom and my dad, I was like on FaceTime to them. We were all screaming like, "Oh my God, fuck!" Like, you need to go on a flight. And like, as we were looking for flights were selling out. Like, and I was obviously screaming on the phone, "I want to fly BA. I want to fly BA A380. Like, get me on the BA A380. And if not, like, please, like, Singapore Airlines, but I don't want anything else. Like, I don't want to fly. Like, I don't want to have to do a stopover. Like, I really don't want to have to do a stopover. Please don't, like, send me through anywhere. Like, I just want to go. I want to fly direct." So, like, Singapore or BA. And then she was like, "Well, everything's sold out. The only thing that we can do is get you a KLM flight on a 777. And I was like, "No, like, I don't want to fly KLM. I don't want to fly 777. And I know I sound super spoiled. And I sound like really ridiculous, but it's not even, I'm not. Like KLM was actually more expensive than BA. It was like, it was just my anxiety at that time. Like, sometimes my anxiety makes me like sound really spoiled, but I'm not. Like, I'm really anxious about flying, and I hopefully people who like have flying anxiety can relate to me, and I don't feel as crazy as I do right now talking here about like how I didn't want to fly KLM. But yeah, so I ended up flying obviously KLM with a stopover. I think it was mostly the stopover that I didn't want to do, because I just didn't want to be in an airport with a mask by myself, like super empty. I was like, I just want to fly direct if I have to fly. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, my mom is like screaming at me down the phone, like, if you don't get onto a flight, I will not see you. And so it kind of became like, okay, well, I have just really no choice. So I was like, fuck it, like, do the KLM flight. I'll stop over in Amsterdam. Like, okay, whatever. I have never packed my suitcase in such a short amount of time. My best friend Alia called me. She was like, I'm going back to Malaysia, like, as well. Like, I have to pack up my whole apartment. And we were both stressing. We were both like, oh my God. Anyway, I get to the airport with all my stuff. Everything's thrown into a suitcase. I'm like going through security. I am now in the plane, in the little 737 on the tarmac. I'm ready to take off. I'm like, where's my laptop? Where's my laptop? And I realize that I fucking left my laptop at airport security. And I was like, now remember when I told you that I was a little bit anxious about flying? Quite a lot anxious about flying. So I was like, okay. Have you ever had when you're about to panic and you have a weird sense of calm just like come over yourself? I was like, okay. So normally I would really freak out about the fact that I've just left my laptop behind and I'm going on to a one-way flight to Asia. I don't know when I'm coming back, if I'm ever coming back. Fuck. But I was like, stay calm. it is what it is. You're on the tarmac now. You're literally about to take off and you literally cannot do anything. So you're just going to have to sit with this and deal with it when you land. Like, don't freak out, because if you freak out, you will not be able to go home. Because I was so scared of having a panic attack. I was like almost scared of having a panic attack, because I was like, if I have a panic attack in this plane and they for some reason kick me out of this plane, or like this man needs attention, like this man needs medical attention, like can't be in this, he can't fly, then I'm like, fuck, I won't be able to make it home. So I was like, I'm gonna stay calm. I stayed very calm, got to Amsterdam, and I freaked out a little bit. I called my mom and I was like, Mama, I think I've left my laptop. She was like, don't worry. Everything will be fine. Just get your ass onto the next flight and we'll deal with it when you're when you're home. Okay, so I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I just try to forget about it. I'm trying to get like some food somewhere. And then I'm like I've like made it onto now the second plane, but we're still at the gate. And it's like 11 p.m. Like most flights to Asia like leave quite late in the evening. So we're sat there waiting on the plane, like as in me and the other people on the plane. And the flight attendants are like, I'm noticing they're like walking around with these iPads and they're asking people for like, you know, if they've got like Singapore, like if they're PR or if they have like a dependence pass, whatever. And they're just like walking through, and people are starting to get taken off the plane because Singapore is like changing its rules like as we're sat by the gate. So can you fucking imagine? I've traversed all this way. I'm now in Amsterdam. I'm in this plane, and people are getting taken off this plane. And the whole time I'm on FaceTime time. I'm obviously at this point it's like 3-4 a.m. in Singapore. And I'm like freaking out, like, holy shit, like it was even later, it was like 5 or 6 a.m. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be taken off this plane and I will not be able to go home. And I was like freaking out, even though I had my dependence pass, but I was like something, because I think they were even saying like, it's like there's I don't know, they were taking people off because there was too many people on the plane and only so many people could land. There was some rule, but they were taking people off the plane. And for this reason as well, like the luggage and stuff was having to be taken off. So we ended up having like a 2.5 to 3 hour delay. But you guys, Singapore was closing its borders at 12 midnight. So we would have landed, like if we hadn't been delayed, we would land at 5 p.m. So I was like, please, don't delay us anymore, because then I won't be able to cross the border to Malaysia from Singapore, and then I'll be stuck. Like, I'll be stuck in Singapore, I'll be stuck, I don't even know where, somewhere in the air above the South China Sea. Like, I'm not gonna make it. Anyway, suddenly, people stop, suddenly the captain announces, like, we're ready for takeoff, like, doors are locked, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God, we're gonna be okay, I'm gonna make it home. And this is what I remember the most as well. Like, it was actually a really lovely flight. Like, KLM was great. Like, since then I flew KLM a couple more times to Singapore. Like, they're like lovely. But I remember so vividly, there was this woman sat next to me, and she'd obviously could see that I was on the phone to my mom for ages, and I was like, I was speaking Dutch. So the woman next to me, she was also Dutch, and she could understand. So she obviously put two and two together that like I live in Singapore. And so we got to talking a little bit, and I was like, so why are you going to Singapore? Like, does your family live there as well? She was like, no, I'm just going on holiday to Bali. I was like, girl, you are going to Bali like now in COVID? Like, everyone's like, can you not tell that everyone here is making a run for their life? Like, no one is going on holiday. Like, no one's going to Singapore for holiday. People, I'm going because I like live there. Like, I'm from there. Like, I'm not going there for holidays. Like, you need to stay in Holland, girl. If you don't have like the documents to be in Asia, like don't go, because you're gonna be stuck. Like, we're gonna be stuck. Like, and then Bali shut down. I was thinking about this. I thought about this woman so much in COVID. I was like, she is nuts. Like, how have you not been keeping up with the news? Like, everything that, like, you can't be traveling. It was crazy to me. I can't believe that she was doing that. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my little COVID side tangent. Sorry, I realized it's getting quite long. Anyway, let's wrap it up. So it's time for my favorite of the week. This is going to be really strange because it's not my favorite of the week. It's like my least favorite of the week. Because one of my absolute best friends, Alia, she moved back to Malaysia, and I know she'll listen to this because, like, she does, listen to every episode. And I dropped her off at Heathrow, and it was just a really sad week because I love her so much. We moved together, like, we lived here together. Like, she was the only other person I knew in London when I first moved here. Like, we moved at the same time. A really special friend. We went to school together. We knew each other for 12 years. A long ass time. So my favorite of the week is Alia because I want to wish her all the best in Malaysia and all your future endeavors. I love you so fucking much. I'm about to FaceTime you anyway after this episode. Um, but yeah, I love you and good luck. And so yeah, that's my favorite of the week. But guys, have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it to this part, I realized it was a bit scrambled, but guys, I think I am going to be scrambled the whole time, every episode, because I'm just a bit of a scrambled egg. So yeah, next episode, or this is part 1 of Housemates, part 2 of Housemates is going to be crazier. This is like a recent story as well, so I'm going to have to bleep names. I'm going to have to change people's whole names because I'm not sure if I can really like. I know. I feel like I'm definitely gonna get some Instagram DMs being like, "Can't believe you're fucking talking about me on your podcast." Da-da-da-da. But anyway, I don't give a shit. You should have treated me like shits. Okay. Anyways, guys, see you next Tuesday. Toodles.